Hello everybody, welcome to another True review, the first one in a long time. I think the first one of 2018 due to technical issues. I am of course True, your Million G gamer, and welcome back to the channel, and thank you all for sticking around while I sort out my PC woes. Fingers crossed we're back up and running now, and I'm bringing you the first review of the year. This is Eye Kutkh on the Xbox One. It's priced at £3.99, made by Baba Yaga Games and published by Sometimes You. Now, I'll read you the description of what the game says it is. It says it's an exciting space adventure based on fairy tales of the far north. A single traveller on his way home crashes on a mysterious planet. To continue his journey, he'll have to get to the ninth heaven, deceive the sun and the moon, and steal their space boats. That's a very accurate description of the game, and pretty much sums up the entire plot of the game, because that's exactly what you go and do. So you play as One-Eyed Kutkh. I believe it's pronounced Kutkh. It's spelled K-U-T-K-H. That's the only way I can think of pronouncing it. Who's this big purple blob of a creature with a single eye, and is a very, well, from his mannerisms and from the look of his single eye, he's a very shady character by the looks of it, and he doesn't seem to have a lot of morals. But you basically crash on this spaceship. Now, straight from the get-go, I encountered a problem straight away when I was actually stuck for about 5 minutes thinking what the hell I was supposed to do, because this game is best described as a graphic adventure, you know, much like the old Monkey Island kind of games, where you don't actually directly control the character, you just move a icon around the screen and direct the character in that fashion. But then it kind of contradicts itself on some aspects of the game. You do have direct control, such as in the so-called labyrinth area of the map, and then it reverts back to point and clicking. But yeah, the first problem I encountered here was you're in the spaceship, it develops a mechanical problem, and a thought bubble appears above Kutkh's head, showing several buttons and several levers in the thought bubble. Now, I don't think this would have been just me, but obviously you would think you interact with the physical levers and buttons in the spacecraft, not the ones in the actual thought bubble. But no, this game wants you to interact with the thought bubbles rather than the actual real world items, and that stumped me for a good 5 minutes, I have to say. I mean, I'll put my hand up to that one. It just wasn't immediately obvious, and could have been easily solved by a quick on-screen prompt to say this is how you interact with the game world through the thought bubbles. Anyway, long story short, you crash on the planet. He loses several important cogs that power his engine. 3 of them aren't immediately at the crash site, but 1 of them has gone missing, and he needs to find either the cog or an alternate method of transportation off the planet. And that's really the crux of the story. Now, I won't go into it too much. I think the game description pretty much summed the entirety up, because this is a very short game. You are literally looking at, probably for the first playthrough as you muddle your way through, about 40 minutes, and that's probably generous. When you know what you're doing, you could probably rattle through this game in less than 20 minutes tops. It is that short. Now, the game, I would say, has puzzles, but I'm really overselling that, because they're so straightforward. Describing them as puzzles is, like I say, a bit generous to the game. They probably amount to just picking up a physical item and dragging it to a silhouette of that said item, and that's pretty much the entire crux of the puzzles. You can't really go wrong. The game's just got one direction, one linear path through the entire thing, and there's absolutely zero replay value, because the story and outcomes are the same each and every time that you do play. So moving on to the graphics, you can see they are pretty simplistic, but they have got a charming look to them, and they do serve the purpose of the game of you know, telling the story, which is all done through non-verbal noises and things else. Obviously, it's some kind of communication between the actual native creatures, but there's no actual English or actual recognizable language on screen there, but it does convey what is going on, and you do kind of get the gist of what each of the characters are saying to one another. And I had an amusing time streaming the game when I was kind of like making up the dialogue of what they could have been saying, and to be honest with you, that was probably more amusing than the actual game itself. Now, I think the game's strongest point is the game's audio. Like I say, the communication that they use through audio, noises and such do really convey kind of a bit of emotion. You can tell when a character is inquisitive, angry, happy, etc. And the music is probably the game's strongest point. The music is absolutely pretty decent in this game. Sometimes it's a bit of inappropriately placed, but nevertheless the tracks that are on display are pretty decent. So in terms of gameplay, what do you have then? Well, not an awful lot. Like I say, it is basically a very simple, very brief point and click adventure, which can be done in about 40 minutes on your first playthrough. You're never ever going to get stuck other than once you figured out the control scheme, obviously. And the game, just as it kind of gets going and you start feeling comfortable with what you kind of do and the premise of it, ends, and that's it. And as I said before, there's simply no replayability value to this game at all. So the question you've all been wanting to be answered, is this worth your hard-earned cash? Bear in mind it is only $3.99 to buy, and it is only 40 minutes long to play. Well, I would say yes, because it tells a story, it tells it in a confined space. The characterization, even though there's no actual recognizable language, is done really well, that you can tell when people are being inquisitive and showing emotion there. Kutkh is a very sinister character, I think, and I feel if they do get another episode of his story, hopefully they'll flesh him out a bit more, because he does seem a bit devious. And there's one scene in particular where he is looking very sneaky and very shifty. Put it this way, you wouldn't want to leave your kids with him, but this look that he gives is very shady at times. And like I say, the music is the most enjoyable part of the game, and the graphical style, while simplistic, has a very childish, simplistic look to it, which kind of fits the game really well. It is only $3.99. You really have to make your own decision on this. I think the $3.99 for the 40 minutes of entertainment and the enjoyment it gave me streaming this on Twitch was definitely worth the asking price. If you're an achievement hunter, it's definitely worth a buy, because the 1000 gamer score, you will get no trouble whatsoever. So I'm going to give Eye Kutkh a buy. A recommendation of a buy for you guys. It's just a cheap and cheerful title, and a very good start, even though very brief start, from this new publisher who has released quite a lot of games, and I'm going to be reviewing each and every one of them for you in the next coming days. So thanks everybody for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.